There are discussions, presentations of values, principles, messages and the like. Amongst all these things you will find there are some very specific and illustrative occasions where Srimad Bhagavata has to give a beautiful single composite message, full in every way. This shloka is one such. The occasion all of you know very clearly. Prahlada already spoke to the Lord in a very endearing but confident and bold manner, where he even found fault with the Lord in having offered him to accept boons. See, this is the occasion. Now, Narahari has already accepted has already heard whatever Prahlada had to say, and finally he persuades him to live as the leader of the Asura community for this Manvantara. And the benedictory manner in which he speaks, it is something very, very unique. It is applicable to all of us at one point of time. I will explain this verse. Bhogena punyam kushalena papam kalevaram kalajavena hitva kirtim vishuddham suraloka geetam vidaya mameshyasi muktabandha. This is how Prahlada, you have to live adorning the throne for the Manvantara. See, according to the mythological theories, the human birth takes place when Papa and Punya become equal for a Jiva. I am not going into the authenticity of this statement as to whether there is Papa and Punya and whether there is equal measure of both in the human life. But it is a concept and a theory. When Punya or virtue exceeds, you have the heavenly birth as Devas. When Papa is more, then you descend to the subhuman levels. When they become equal, we have the human birth. This is the concept. The idea is to make you understand that the world consists of dvandvas, pairs of opposites, and naturally your personal individual life will also be subject to the pairs of opposites. What is meant by pairs of opposites? All the pairs of opposites together, when they interact with your mind, the mind produces only a twofold response. One is pleasantness, another is unpleasantness. So the entire dvandvas of the world together, when they come to the mind, they only have to evoke two responses, pleasantness and unpleasantness. The pleasantness is said to be a result or an outcome of virtue, punya, and the unpleasantness is supposed to be an effect or an outcome of papa. So he says, Bhogena punyam kushalena papam. A wonderful message. When I read it first time, I had such a feeling of enlightenment. Wonderful statement, extremely wonderful, exemplary. Bhogena punyam. I want you to sit on the throne and enjoy the comforts, the regal comforts and conveniences, if necessary, the luxuries of a royal life. Why? Because you have a lot of punya accumulated to your credit. That punya has to be exhausted by undergoing it. What is the effect of punya? Comfort, happiness, convenience, all kinds of glory, favor, prosperity, sufficiency and the like. Now all these are the result of punya. You have an ample stock of punya. So you undergo this period of regal splendor and then exhaust it, complete it, wear it off. And similarly, kushalena papam. What is meant by kushalena papam? Kushala is the burden of having to look after the welfare and prosperity and freedom and safety of the people. See, the throne is not an abode of leisure. It is, on the other hand, it is a seat of extreme burden. This everyone should understand. Why does the king have all kinds of comforts and conveniences? So that he is free to think and act in whichever manner he likes anytime. If suddenly he has to go somewhere to punish a particular citizen, he will simply reach there. No time is sought, no convenience is sought, no delay is made. And nobody is there to question him. Similarly, if somebody is to be rewarded, he will do so also. So he should be unfettered in his action. But a king will have always a sense of propriety associated with him. The moment he makes a mistake in his propriety level, I think everything gets ruined. That is how Sri Rama decided in an instant to abandon the pregnant Sita. It was a question of causing stain to the throne, which he was unable to stand. How suddenly he decided? That is the way a king should be. So he says, sitting on the throne, on the one hand you enjoy or rejoice over whatever luxuries or comforts you have, enjoyments you have. Okay, it's okay. It is provided by the world. Similarly, Kushalena, by bearing the task of having to look after the welfare of so many subjects under you, it is a great burden. 24 hours of the day would not be sufficient, and 2 hands will not be sufficient, as I always say. We have so much of work in the ashram. I am running 2 parallel telecast series. Both of them are very important, very popular, heard by millions and many millions of people. Now I have to prepare regularly for this. It's not an easy job. Already I have enough work. I have to write the book. I have to meet the people. I have to write for the journals. A number of letters arrive, emails arrive. All these things have to be looked after. So it is not a kind of a leisurely life as apparently you think. If at all we have a leisure, it is the leisure provided by the imperishable soul within. That soul provides all the leisure. We feel inexhaustible treasure, spiritual treasure is there within me. That is what I feel. So, having to look after the welfare and ensure the prosperity of the nation, it requires a lot of attention, watchfulness, a lot of sensitivity, concern. You cannot be partial to anybody. Your own palace inmates cannot be partially looked after. They have to be looked after. The citizens also will have to be equally looked after. So it's a great burden. Undergoing this burden, you wear and tear the papa which is already for you. So he says, Bhogena punyam, kushalena papam, kalevaram, kalajavena hitva. Then another factor is our very embodiment. That is the body. This body is an outcome of time. At a particular point, your body entered the womb during the Garbhadhana. That is, while the time is marching, at one point of time, Garbhadhana took place. Another point of time, the fetus completed its growth in the womb and it came out, marking the birth of the baby. Now every day, every hour, every minute we are growing. And after we become an adult at the age of 20 or 21 years, decline starts. And at one point of time, we will also drop our body. All these are creations and outcomes and events brought about by the passage of time. So he says, Kalevara, which we have got, this embodiment, Kalajavena hitva. By the passage of time, you abandon that also. So there are 3 important standards and points and values made here. One is Bhogena Punyam. There are many people who say they have got riches, they have got conveniences, they have some glory, everything is there, but they have family burden or some other burden. See, to become a chairman of a corporation, it appears to be a prestigious job, but you should occupy the chair and see how it functions. It is not an easy job at all. You have to be concerned with so many departments, so many general managers, so many vice presidents and others. It's not an easy job. A lot of attention will be necessary. You cannot be caring your family so much. There will be a lot of denial on the other side. Of course, our task should be to club all with equal importance, etc. Sometimes I gave a speak. What about that? See, we have got 3 segments in our life. One is our residential or domestic segment. Another is the professional segment. The third is a societal segment. How to bring about all the 3 in a beautifully combined conjunctional manner. This is where I used to speak to corporate officials. So we must know how to manage this. All people will not be able to do. Either they will flourish well in looking after the family, or only the professional life, or maybe in the society they will be somebody. But all the 3 have to be amalgamated. There must be a conjunctional approach, not a divisional outlook. Bhogena punyam, kushalena papam, kalevaram, kalajavena hitva. And then see the blessing he has given. I wish every one of you has this kind of a blessing. At least I, your Swamiji, I bless you all for these three triple benefits. Kirtim Vishuddham Suraloka Geetam. The manner in which you adorn the throne, you look after your empire and the people. It should be so beautiful. There must be ample character, efficiency there, attention there, care, caution, solidarity, safety. Everybody should be encouraged to work. Efficiency should be at the top. Productivity should be the maximum. Waste should be the minimum. There should be no accident, no premature death or accidental death. There should be no child death. Everybody should be all right. No, this kind of atmosphere, who will create? It is the emperor, the ruler will create. That is his responsibility. So when you are able to do it well, there is no selfishness. You have the people, your own subjects, first and foremost in your heart. Such a king is always preferred. He will be a dream of the people generally. When you are able to do it, Kirtim Vishuddham, most holy and pure, Kirti, fame, Suraloka Geetam. Even the denizens of the heavens, the celestial regions will start singing your glory. That kind of a fame you should spread. Vidaya, Mam Eshyasi, Mukta-bandha. Then come to me, redeemed of all kinds of fetters and bondage. Punya is a fetter, bondage. Papa is a bondage. Your body is a bondage. All the three bondages should be beautifully exhausted or severed, and being a delivered man, you will come to me. This is the blessing he pronounced. In the very early years of my ashram, Narayana Ashram Tapovanam, on the slope of Pandavagiri hill, Mataji Sulabha Devi was a close associate of mine. She was a disciple, but elder to me. She already was a mother and had 2 children, but she thought of renouncing all of them. And her earlier husband, he was the first person who brought her to the ashram. So all of them were very much appreciative of her spiritual bent of mind, austerities she had. She always used to read Sreemad Bhagavatam. She was a Bhagavatite. In the ashram, every day a few chapters of Sreemad Bhagavatam she would read. As I must have mentioned earlier, my Bhagavata interest is primarily due to her reading and association. Every day she would read. She knew Sanskrit also to the extent that was necessary. So she was a Vairagini. A lot of dispassion she had. So often she used to tell me, she called me, Father, I don't want to live. It is enough. Why should I live? So I used to tell her, see, your own Bhagavatam, see this verse, what does it say? Bhogena punyam kushalena pabam kalevaram kalajavena hitva. This is what you should do. We are all born with a measure of punya, with an equal measure of papa. The papa and punya have to be undergone to be exhausted. So you undergo this by a comfortable and peaceful ashram life. At the same time, you also have the burden of looking after the devotees and disciples who come here. This is what I tell the present Maji, Gurupriya also. But not so much as I used to say earlier, because Gurupriya doesn't complain to me or feel troubled. She only says, if at all, Swamiji, you must have more disciples who will look after the ashram, and you don't think in this direction. This is her constant complaint. We already are about 10 or 11 people. I don't know whether we should be more. The 10 or 11 austere inmate people, ascetic people. Others are different. Kirtim Vishuddham Suraloka Geetam Vidaya Mameshyasi Mukta-bandha. If you understand the spirit, the fervor, the inspiration, the objective of this verse, you will never shed tears in your life. Such a beautiful formula of life. I wish my viewers are able to understand and appreciate it. But the funny feature is that none of you writes to me or tells me how this series is and how are you benefited or not benefited. What happened to all of you? This is characteristic of the Indian viewer or the Indian listener. But there must be some people at least. See, I am doing this telecast series. How are my viewers feeling? Are they benefited? We do get responses, but the responses are very few. They could be much, much more. I would like to address a letter to many of you. provided you let me know your addresses. I will write you. I am a very good writer. My letters are very interesting. Maybe I will write to you a 1-page or a 2-page or a 3-page letter. In these days of electronic print, everything becomes easy, though it takes more time. We are not able to look into all the electronic mails with as much of immediacy as necessary. Not that we neglect anything. Even now there is a pile of letters which I have to reply. So I would like you to respond to me and let me know how this telecast series is meaningful to you, relevant to you, effective to you. Do they serve the cause of ennoblement? Are you ennobled? Are you elevated? Are you enlightened? Is your heart expanding, enlarging? Is there a reformation, a refinement taking place in you? Are you feeling less and less burdensome? Is the mind becoming lighter? Is it becoming easier? Are you becoming more and more delightful, joyous? I would like to know. Because every syllable that I am uttering is meant to generate this kind of an effect in the listeners or viewers. Bhogena punyam kushalena papam kalevaram kalajavena hitva kirtim vishuddham suraloka geetam vidaya mameshyasi muktabandha. What a wonderful ideal. I think this one verse is sufficient. You know, it is more particularly relevant to the knowers of truth, the great devotees of the land. Good and lofty devotees, they should never become indifferent to or unnecessarily resentful about anything. Many things can take place in this world, but none of them should shatter them. After all, to be in an ashram, this telecast series is not easy to prepare and generate matter in time. I have to race against time, then only it is possible. It is a burden, no doubt, but I am not going to consider it to be a burden. Now, this is a wonderful formula which will give you a harmony, an integration, a wholesomeness, a fullness, a completeness of your life. Bhogena punyam, kushalena papam, kalevaram means body, kalajavena, by the passage of time, hitva, living. Meanwhile, suraloka geetam vishuddham kirtim vidaya. You must be able to live in such a noble manner, exemplary manner, good manner, benign manner, beneficial manner, that many people will be there to say, oh, such a man, very good, noble, he is a model, he is an example. And the fame should spread not merely upon the earth, in the high skies also. That is why Prahlada found a place, a great and prestigious place in Sreemad Bhaagavatam. See, Vedavyasa wrote about him, Shukamini recited about him, and how many Sreemad Bhagavata exponents are there to speak about the 7th skandha, and particularly to present before you this 7-year-old boy. 7-year-old boy. Is there any human child who has been similarly treated, exposed, exclaimed, any time? Certainly not. Not. So it's a wonderful proposition for life, a formula for life. Yedat kirtayen mahyam tvaya geetamidam naraha tvamcha mamcha smarankale karmabandhat pramuchyade. Most of you are complaining, either to others or to yourselves, that life is a burden. Life is a burden. I thought everything would be all right. I got married. I had 2-3 children. Everything is all right, I thought. But I am not happy with my children. I am not happy with my wife, her behavior. I am not happy with my husband. I am not happy with the daughters-in-law, sons-in-law. My sister is not all right. So many different types of complaint that you have. Always you have. This is called karma bandhana. Whatever action you perform, whatever activity you undertake, you are being victimized in its own hands. We construct a house to live comfortably under the roof. But after constructing the house, everything is all right, the civil construction is over, amenities also are over. When you start living in the house, rubbing starts, opinion difference starts, quarrel starts. So many other things are there. So nobody seems to be happy. So karma bandhana is there for everyone. This karma bandhana means actually something like fetters uncomfortable notes in our psychological inner personality. Ya etat kirtayed mahyam tvaya geetamidam naraha. This is a wonderful statement. Narahari says, mahyam tvaya geetam idam. What does he refer to? Whatever you have sung for me in my presence. What did he sing? Beautiful praises he sang. So Prahlada's praise is specially referred to and extolled by Mahavishnu in the form of a man-lion Narahari. Not only after the praise, when Mahavishnu Narahari was pleased and he offered boons, you accept whatever you want, Prahlada sternly refuses. Not only that, finds fault with Lord Hari, saying that you are doing a wrong thing in trying to tempt me with your boons. I am not that kind of a servant who looks for being rewarded by the master repeatedly now and then. And I don't expect you are a master who also wants to give incentives to the servant and make them work additionally. There is no barter or a trade or a merchandise between us. I am an exclusive and wholesome devotee of yours. I want devotion and devotion alone. No expectation, no desire, nothing at all. And I am sure that you also have no necessity from me or from the others. So you are full in your own manner. I am devotionally full in my own manner. So where is the question of seeking, offering, accepting or otherwise anything like a boon? So this kind of a remark from a devotee in front of the Lord is very, very singular. In the whole of Sreemad Bhagavata, I don't think there is a similar place. So the words of Prahlada during the praise and after the praise, when Narahari was pleased and he offered the boons, this is something to be sung. This is something to be recited. This is something to be remembered, honored, adhered to, praised and praised and praised. It should become the life song, the life ideal for every one of us. So he says, Yayetad kirtayen mahyam tvaya geetamidam naraha. Whichever human goes on singing, you may not be able to bring about this kind of an attitude all of a sudden in yourself. It may not be possible. Let us at least remember that this land is highly blessed because it has given birth to some children at least, some people at least, who were having this kind of a high devotional magnificence and splendor. Let us know very clearly. Tvamcha mamcha smaran kale. He says, they should remember you on the one hand and me on the other. So he has equated Prahlada with himself. People should recite your praise, he says, not my words, your praise about me. And whatever you have confessed to me, when I offered the boons, you said, I don't want anything. Even if you want me to accept, kamanam hridi asamroham. My dear viewers, are you grasping what I am saying? Kamanam, desires, they should not sprout in my heart. Hridi, in my heart. Asamroham, non-sprouting. The non-sprouting of desires in my heart. This is what I want. Which devotee will say like this? And mind you, he was only 7 years old. And imagine how tolerantly, patiently, ungrumblingly, in an unwearied manner, he forbore all the torture that was inflicted on him by the teachers and the father. And he was witnessing. He was a sthita prajna and a sthitati both together when the fight was going on. And ultimately he tells Narahari, my father did a wrong thing. He did not know about your position as a Mahavishnu, the protector and the guide of all. So he became inimical towards you. Please excuse him, forbear him. And Narahari says, by my touch, after all I had to touch him. I pulled off his intestines. He fought with me. I also fought with him. I gave him special privilege and recognition to fight to his heart's content. Now by this, he is already purified. All this, the 7-year-old boy stands there with folded hands, witnessing the whole event. My dear souls, every one of you must have a child like Prahlada.